back to Solomon. It's still February 16th, 2026. So the Lord, in a dramatic way last week, put Solomon and the building of the temple, but then also his falling away from God, clearly taking on all these gods of the wives that he brought into his house, brought into the fellowship of the house of the Lord, the worst of the gods that caused Israel to sin so badly, and which caused Israel to be divided, to become 10 nations that make up the northern tribes and 2 that make up the south. To this day, the rejoining of these 12 tribes has yet to happen officially. We don't know where the tribe of Asher is, right? We don't know where Naphtali is because of how they were destroyed eventually. The intermarrying and all that goes with that, and that physical location to the ends of the earth, they're spread out. And if you're a Jewish person that loves Israel, if you love your history, you long for the day when the 12 tribes are together to restore us back to the time I'm going to read about, when Solomon dedicates the temple that God actually entered in his Shekinah glory. Think about that. Is this not the pinnacle, the height in Israel's history? Is the presence of heaven inside of the temple built by this man named Solomon, who eventually falls away? And there's a lot of stuff packed into this that have to do with us. Has to do with the gathering of the nations. Has to do with what's going on today in the world. All this exposure of wickedness. The Epstein files. People don't get it. They just want to judge these people as wicked. They are. But they don't realize this is ancient history on display. This is Solomon's sin. Worshiping Moloch by sacrificing children. Eating human flesh. All of this comes out of this demonic worship. And yet what precedes it all, what goes in front of it, is the presence of God on earth in the temple that was built, the first beautiful temple that was built by Solomon based on the architecture of his father David. He is a product of David's sin with Bathsheba. None of this makes sense to the human mind. God has a way of taking things that look like the worst of people, out of their seed could come the greatest of people. Like Ruth from Moab. Moab is a wicked nation that Solomon has married one of the queens of Moab that brought in this wicked worship. Yet Ruth is part of the family of David, and Jesus' genealogy comes out of Ruth. Rahab, the harlot, saves Israel. And God blesses her. She's part of the genealogy. We don't understand it. So when people say, why is there evil? You're asking the wrong question. Why is there good? Why is there good? Why is God still working on Israel? Why does it exist? Don't tell me it's the Balfour Declaration, 1917, or whatever it was written. They didn't even know to call it Israel until the last seconds. It was going to be called something else. So it's called Israel for a reason. Divine, holy, pure, heavenly reasons. The land is called Israel and not Palestine. So you can talk about all your stuff. Zionism, England, London wanted this, but they hate it. At the same time, they hate Israel. That's the funny part. They rose up the Muslims. They rose up Hamas. They rose up Gaddafi. It's a game. It's wickedness at the core. It's idolatry at the core. And what's Israel striving for? You have the synagogue of Satan running Israel. They worship the gods that Solomon ended up worshiping. But who's the real Jew worshiping? The Temple Mount. The restoration of the Temple Mount. Genuine going back to the original thing, right? So that's why God brought me back to Solomon, to show me when it all went bad. But first, let's see when it was all good. When he dedicated a temple, listen to the words of his prayer when he brings the Ark of the Lord. Remember, the Ark was on this very site where before the temple was built, when David, it's separated from where it should have been, and it's with this Jebusite, and this Jebusite's like, I don't want this thing. It's like causing great trouble to my world, to my gods. Come get it. And they bring it back and they don't handle it right, and then somebody dies, and it's holy. It's the presence of God, the Ark of the Covenant. And now that same thing that represents the presence of God is being brought to this brand new temple that was built by all these workers. Cedars from Lebanon, gold from Ophir. So much gold, I think it's 4,000 tons, right? What would you do with 4,000 tons of gold? It's all on this temple. When the sun hits it, it's so bright, you have to look away. That's the temple that was built by the wealth of the nations, right? What's God doing today? He's gathering the monies and the wealth of the nations to do what? To build the third temple. It's going to be beautiful. I believe it. I've been saying it for years, since 2009, when God told me that's what was going to happen. Now, I sound crazy, but it doesn't matter. I'm just being faithful. And God's leading me through a very complex set of things to meditate on, and it's a journey. It's like I'm walking through the biggest maze of seeking life and seeking the prize over a 23-year, 24-year soon-to-be period, since I left known things like a doctrinal way of being, very causical, rational, Calvinistic being. I entered the wild unknown of a spirit-filled, spirit-led life. It's craziness. It's hard. But that's what happened. And it has a reason. I don't see all the reasons quite yet. But you're getting to experience part of that process with me today. So now Solomon assembled the elders of Israel and all of the heads of the tribes, the chief fathers of the children of Israel, came to King Solomon in Jerusalem, that they might bring up the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord from the city of David, which is Zion. Okay, so now the word Zion enters this conversation. Heaven, the Jerusalem of heaven we call Zion. The earthly Jerusalem, where King of Salem, Melchizedek, this mystery figure that had no genealogy, that Abraham gave a tithe to, Zion. City of David, Zion. So, how do you not love Zion? If you're a Christian today, born again, love God, read the Bible, read the whole Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, pray, ask God to show you what it means. You live under his eye and you're open to whatever he has for you. You have to settle on the word Zion. Yeah, the wicked can steal that word, like in the movie The Matrix. They're the ones that see and aren't part of the Matrix. They're in a boat called Zion, or a ship called Zion. Yeah, but they're giving you a picture of what really is. Those of us who've broken out of the world system, all the lies, the sea of lies that we drink if you pay attention to it and you believe this nonsense that they tell us about everything, the beginnings, right? What's really going on in the world, the nations, we don't know. We just know that there's all kinds of clamor and all kinds of warfare going on right now. We're in a transitional phase of human history, which I believe is going to lead to the third temple. It's going to be built, it's going to be beautiful, and it's going to be where the Temple Mount is. I don't know how, but the Muslim thing is going to shrivel there. They're just going to walk away, right? It's going to be part of the deal. You know, think about it. If you're a Jewish person today and the Muslims walk away and they allow the Dome of the Rock to be destroyed or to be reduced in its footprint, or however they want to do it, they'll probably leave it because of syncretism. Let's bring all the religions together. I believe that's the final thing. The final deception, the great deception, is that all the religions, the Abrahamic religions, will come together, right, into one religion. The Pope loves that, by the way. The Pope is an Antichrist figure because of what he teaches. He teaches the great deception. That's what the popes do. They are not pure biblical guys. And they sit on a throne, which is evil, washing the feet. When does the Pope wash the feet? Jesus taught his disciples, the ones that they put on a pedestal, Peter, James, John, all those guys, to wash each other's feet. When's the Pope washing feet? No, he's wearing fancy robes. He's got a fish on his head, and he sits up high on a pedestal. That's not God. That's not Peter. That's not Paul. That's not what they did. Okay? They were martyrs. They were torn to pieces by many of the forefathers, by lions. They ran to the stake where they were burned. That's apostolic work, not the Pope. The Pope is a joke, a lie, a deceiver. But there's another one coming that's greater than he. That's what's coming. And Solomon is the archetype of the Freemason Illuminati movement, because here's a guy that built beautiful things. Freemason is a mason, he built things. They built this incredible structure that's never been built like that. Maybe they're going to try to rebuild it just like that the third time. Herod built it a certain way, but maybe it's going to be built better like Solomon. They're going to try to map. I don't know how they're going to get 4,000 tons of gold. But anyway, point being is he had all the women too. He had all the luxury. They loved the idea of an earthly power position with any kind of sex and any kind of pleasure, all kinds of food. They loved the idea of being a person who can achieve that through work, through knowledge, through theological study, through certain prayers, through incantations. Yeah. They want to do it outside of Christ, outside of death to self, outside of laying on your face before God, emptying yourself of self, divesting yourself of self. They don't want that. They want everything else. They want man to be on the pedestal. They want pride, just like the Catholic Church with the Pope. Same thing. They're very connected, right? Dalai Lama, pride, wickedness. That man is wicked. Epstein files reveal it. All the people in the Muslim thing at the top of the food chain. What do you think they do? They got multiple wives. They rape children. Who knows what else they do? It's all man worship. It's all putting people on pedestals, worshiping a man. What do you think we do in America? We put LeBron James up there, and now like nobody cares about the NBA, really. Michael Jordan, all this stuff. We want to worship humans rather than the living God who is going to come down and judge the earth, the nations, and every powerful thing. But Solomon here is at the top of Israel's history. He has the whole world at peace with him. He's got they're paying tribute, taxes, whatever. They're worshiping in Jerusalem. They're saying he's the wisest man to ever live. They're marveling at him. He's beautiful to look at, all of that. So the ark is now brought to the temple that he built, to the tabernacle meeting for all the holy stuff, right? That were in the tabernacle. The priests and the Levites brought everything from that tabernacle meeting to there. Also, King Solomon and all the congregation of Israel who were assembled with him were with him before the ark, sacrificing sheep and oxen that could not even be counted or numbered for how many there were. Then the priests brought the Ark of the Covenant to the Lord, to the place, into the inner sanctuary of the temple, to the most holy place, under the wings of the cherubim, which is a picture of heaven, where God's throne is. So that the temple and the tabernacle meeting was nothing more than an earthly design of a heavenly thing. So heaven's real, right? If God gave Moses a design and Aaron to build, and the cherubim, the Ark of the Covenant, and what to put in it, it's a heavenly thing. It's real, it's physical, right? You forget that. Heaven's real, it's up above the blue sky. It's physical, it just isn't seen. We call it spirit as though it's not physical up there. Up there it's physical, it's seen. It's real action, it's real talking, it's real singing. It's real power, it's real city, it's real streets paved with gold, and the gates are so beautiful with all the different emeralds and sapphire and all that, right? The sea is glassy sea. All of that is real. That's what John describes. So you can't say it's spiritual. I've said it so many times, I won't stop saying it until you get it. They were sacrificing, the priests brought in the ark, inner sanctuary, verse 7, for the cherubim spread their two wings over the place of the ark. God's covering, heavenly covering, and the cherub overshadowed the ark and its poles. So this is like heaven is now on earth. What's in heaven is now being represented here with imagery, with real imagery of real things made of bronze and cedar and gold. Okay? It's physical. It's not a theory. This really happened in real-time history. Okay, I gotta get over, guys. I'm going up the mountain on my way to Asheville. The poles extended so that the ends of the poles could be seen from the holy place in front of the inner sanctuary, but they could not be seen from the outside. And they were there to this day. Wow. What do we do with that? They're there to this day. Nothing was in the ark except the 2 tablets of stone, which Moses put there at Mount Horeb, where the Lord made a covenant with the children of Israel, holy covenant written in stone, and when they came out of the land of Egypt. So everything ties back to the deliverance of Israel from Egypt. We're still being delivered, right? We're still not seeing the full fruition of that deliverance, so that the priests could not continue ministering because of the cloud of the glory of the Lord that filled the house. So God entered like he did for Moses. The Shekinah went in, and people saw it from a distance, but only Moses could go in because only Moses wanted to go in. The people were scared of God. Here we have it again. God comes down in a cloud and a glory. God represents himself in a cloud, a mystery. When Jesus was baptized, he represented himself in a cloud. When Jesus went up before he went to his right hand, the right hand of the Father, he went into a cloud. The cloud, when you see a cloud, it represented to Israel the glory of God, the presence of God, the Shekinah. So the Shekinah is coming into the thing that has been properly built according to David's design. Everything done to order. There's no chiseling going on site. It's a holy action. It's pure. Now let's get into a little bit of an aside here. We now are the temple of God. So think about the detail that Solomon had to do to build the temple. If we're the temple, think about the detail that God has to deal with me and you as true people of God. Our soul needs to be reconstructed in accord with his will. We have to be recompiled. Our motives have to be redone. Our words have to be more in line with his will. We can't preach our own doctrine. We're not preaching about who we are, but we're preaching about the living God. We are now the temple. So guys, this is heavy. It requires contemplation because we're in the present. We're in this time in human history. We're getting closer every day to the final hour of human history. We know there's a great deception coming. We know the mark of the beast is coming. We know that people are going to take the mark and they're going to be having to suffer greatly for it at the presence of God. We know there's 144,000 from every tribe. What is that all about? That's the future of what's happening here in Solomon. Solomon has the 12 tribes, but the 12 tribes have to be heavenly built, heavenly sent, heavenly dropped down, kind of like God's presence here in Shekinah. It's God looking down. It's God completely captivated by this moment in time. It's a moment in history, just like when Jesus was born. The shepherds heard the angels, saw the angels, announcing his birth, right? The wise men coming. the sun being turned off when he died on the cross. Like, these are moments that will never be like God opening up the sea for the Israelites to go through. These are moments, and this is one of these historical, incredible moments that we need to meditate on. God is actually dwelling on earth in a building that was built by Solomon that David designed. Now Solomon's going to speak. Now this is where it gets deep. Okay? Then Solomon spoke. The Lord said that he would dwell in a dark cloud. I have surely built you an exalted house. It's set on a hill, and a place for you to dwell forever. Okay, there you go. So what this is all about, this temple, was the presence of God on earth. Do you think for 1 second in your cognitive thought life that because they failed and Solomon failed and he worshiped all these gods and God allowed that temple to be destroyed by Babylon, do you really think that it's never going to happen again? Why is a third temple valuable, even though it's going to be desecrated by the Antichrist? Because it does represent the presence of God. What the Antichrist does is he steps into the Holy of Holies, so it's holy. When they build this temple, it's not going to be slipshod. It's going to be built according to a design, a holy design. There's going to be cherubim. And these people are going to be very serious about their work. These Jewish people. They're going to be very industrious, and a lot of money is going to flow. A lot of gold is going to flow. But the word forever is spoken. What is the destiny of earth? It is the presence of God on earth forever. It is Jesus in his holy throne, temple, whatever you want to describe it, on earth. In Jerusalem, on the holy hill. Who can enter God's holy hill? He who has clean hands and a pure heart. This is Zion. This is the end. This is what we're fighting for. This is what I preach. This is why I preach over and over the same things. Because it's not understood in the modern evangelical world. We preach about all kinds of stuff, but we don't preach the end. We don't preach Jerusalem. We don't preach Jesus on earth. We think about rapture. We think about morality. We think about feeling better. We think about, prophecy, wealth. We think about all these stupid things. We don't think about the presence of God on earth. Solomon had all this wealth so he could build a temple that God could dwell in. The money was all God's. The gold was all God's. It belonged to God. He owns all the gold. He owns all the silver. He owns all the cedar. He owns everything. He owns every economy. Today, right now, he owns it all. He can turn something on. He can turn something off. Wars can start. Wars can end. He is in charge. All right, now we move on. Verse 14. This gets into the deepest stuff of what I want to talk about today. Then the king turned around and blessed the whole assembly, all 12 tribes of Israel, while all the assembly of Israel was standing. So this is the ultimate end. Every tribe is coming back to Jerusalem. Every tribe will be restored. This is the goal of the new birth. This is the goal of the outpoured Holy Spirit. This is the goal of the kingdom message, the restoration of all 12 tribes, and it's the restoration of this scene where you have King Jesus versus King Solomon, the perfect one, died, rose again, powerful, beat death, beat idolatry, beat every dark spirit, went out into the wilderness, defeated all the wild beasts there. He's the winner. He's our proclamation. He's the King of Kings. And blessed be the Lord God of Israel. Right? Do you want to be part of that? Or do you want to be part of some thing you've invented in your head? I want to be part of Israel. I've been grafted into Israel. I'm an Israelite. I'm part of the northern gathering, let's call it. I'm saying that to you because if you're a Gentile, most likely, and you love God and you're into this, you're an Israelite. Now, how do you talk about what's going on in Israel now that you know you're an Israelite? It's different, isn't it? Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, who spoke with his mouth to my father David, and with his hand he has fulfilled it all, saying, since the day that I brought my people out of Egypt, I have chosen no city from any tribe of Israel in which to build a house, that my name might be there, but I chose David to be over my people Israel. So David, Judah. And what is Jesus? The seed of David, the forever seed of David, who will sit perpetually, Psalm 110, on the throne of David in Jerusalem. That's the whole point of the Bible. They come out of Egypt for this moment that Solomon's in right now. It was never about the 40 years. It was about getting the land, getting control, getting the Jebusites out of Jerusalem, and for David to take that city, and for his son Solomon to build this temple where God came down and dwelt with the whole assembly of Israel, with the entire group, all 12 tribes that we have been grafted into today, you and me, in America. That's why you care about Israel. That's why you pray for the peace of Israel and her happiness. And the Jewish people were in unbelief and their scales are still on their eyes. That's why you love Israel, because that's who you are. You love yourself when you love Israel. I'm going to stop there for now. We'll get into the rest maybe later on today. Shalom.